Okay, this is what I have for the cover of my novel. I'm not sure if this is going to be the final cover. I'm sure there will be changes. For now, maybe it's just a temporary visual, like a placeholder. I'm not even sure if I should be making the cover, so I made this myself. I have never made a book cover before, but I did a lot of research trying to understand what makes a good cover, what the marketing trends are, and just how to design a cover and what cover artists consider. So I could be completely off, but I know that I want to at least try. So in this video, I'm going to explain everything I learned about designing a cover for a dark fantasy novel with thriller and horror elements, and my process of making this cover. My writing and art is tied very closely together, which is why I wanted to try making a cover. They influence each other a lot. A lot of what I paint is also what I'm writing about, and in the final published novel, I do somehow want to have some pages of art, although I don't think there will be any color. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it exactly, but I know that it's something I want to include. One of the reasons why or the main reason I want to self-publish is that I want to be able to have complete freedom in the art that I am putting in the novel, the art that I want to include. To me, it's almost just as important as the writing. Just having that real creative freedom that I know working with a publisher or someone else wouldn't give me. I feel like the art is just as much in the process of writing and creating and drafting and the whole process of writing a novel, because I'm painting scenes or I'm painting characters and they all influence each other. So trying to do the cover is definitely something I wanted to try to do. So this is how I designed the cover for my dark fantasy novel. When someone sees the cover, of course they judge it. I know you're not supposed to judge a book by the cover, but we all do. It's almost impossible not to. They say that it takes about 2 seconds before someone knows if they're going to read a book or not just by the cover, before they actually read what the story is about. And this is true because I know I'm not going to read certain books with certain covers because I know it's not a genre that I'm interested in. So it's really important that the cover communicates the type of story, the genre that the writing is in. So I wanted to look at the marketing trends and what makes a cover professional. Some of the biggest mistakes and some of the things that publishers look at. So we know that it's not just artwork. It can't just be pretty. It has to communicate what the novel is about. So I found that there are 3 main jobs that a cover needs to do. Instantly communicate genre. When the cover is small, like if it's on Amazon or something, a small pixel, it has to look dramatic. It has to stand out. And it also has to create curiosity. More books are sold online than in a physical store, so the little icon, the thumbnail of the cover has to be very clear. Something simple, something bold, and something that the viewer can understand right away. So these are the core principles of fantasy covers. The viewer has to instantly know that it's fantasy. That's obvious. So visual symbols of fantasy are dragons, unicorns, magical artifacts, magical mystical symbols, things like ancient runes, things that are kind of glowing and look magical. This is what typically can be in or on fantasy covers. Some sort of image that right away tells you this is fantasy. There also needs to be one strong focal point, which is something I found hard because I want to include so many elements of the novel, but you need to really just choose one. Instead of cramming a bunch of ideas into one image, pick one focal point. One creature, one object, one symbol. Fantasy covers also have dramatic lighting. You can kind of think of it like a movie poster. Maybe moonlight creates this dramatic lighting. A magical glow, lightning, firelight, something that is dramatic and creates a lot of shadows. This creates drama and it creates depth. Fantasy covers also have strong silhouettes. So a clear shape that can be instantly recognizable, like dragon wings, a sword, a wizard hat, a key, something like that. Something that is recognizable when it is a small thumbnail and viewed on a phone or a computer. There's also a limited color palette. Professional covers usually only have a few colors that they work with. For fantasy, it is typically deep blues, black shadows, emerald green or gold highlights. Limiting a color palette creates atmospheric or cinematic effect. Most fantasy covers typically have 3 layers: the background, the midground, and the foreground. Adding effects like fog, stars, glowing particles, water, this creates that effect, having something in the back, middle, and front. The font is really important as well. Bold font, strong space, and large enough to read from far away. And the font, the title, should feel included in the image, not just like pasted on. So that's a lot. It's a lot when it's your first time or you're just getting used to the concept to keep track of. So I tried my best in designing my cover. Let me know what you think about it. But before that, I wanted to look at the common mistakes fantasy covers often have, or that just self-published books in general often have. Covers that are too busy. And this is something I definitely worry about. Kind of weak or generic fonts. Fonts that don't stand out, aren't bold and big. Titles that blend into the background. Using too many fonts, different fonts on the cover. They usually stick to 1 or 2 is best. Using very obvious stock imagery, and I'm going to put AI images in that as well. Having flat lighting with no depth. And just explaining too much on the cover. Having too much text explaining, like having the title and then underneath a dark fantasy novel or something like that. You just want the images to explain what type of novel it is. So let's look at my cover. So this is for Banished Creatures of the Arcana. I have a dragon rising from stormy ocean waves and a unicorn above coming from the clouds. Kind of a moonlit sky, very dark clouds. And on the back, I have tarot cards. So I feel like this definitely explains the genre. I considered putting the tarot cards on the front, but I think that's just way too much, way too busy. or even having the dragon and the unicorn in tarot cards, but again, that was too much. I like them on the back. I felt that they were important to include because they are a pretty big part of the story. So something that maybe could be improved is to have less visual elements. I don't know if the dragon and the unicorn and the cards, the clouds, the water, if that's too much. Maybe there's a little too much color. Maybe it needs to be a bit darker. I'm still thinking about it, looking at it, but right now I like it, and I'm going to be using that kind of as a placeholder for the final cover. Maybe I will be using this as the final cover with just some tweaks, or we'll see. I'm not near there yet. I'm still in the editing phase and writing phase, so I just wanted something to visually represent the novel. And it was fun to give it a try. I have no idea when it is published what I will be using. I like the idea of using it, so we'll just see what happens. But designing a cover is really a balance between marketing and art, and you really have to go more heavy on the marketing, which is something I'm not sure about. I'm more sure about the art than the marketing. The goal is really to create something visually beautiful while also communicating what the story is about and what to expect, wanting someone to feel compelled to look further into the novel, to read the blurb or look at the reviews or whatever it is. I also want it to be memorable. Is this something that a person will recognize if they see it again a second time? Or is it an image that they're going to maybe be scrolling and then after still have that subconsciously in their mind? I feel like it's something, if I saw this cover, I would definitely look more into it, but that's because I love these creatures, dragons and unicorns, and I love tarot cards, and I love dark fantasy, and I feel like that communicates this. I just don't know how it will stand out amongst a bunch of other novels, even ones that are, or all of them, done by professional cover artists. Something that I think might be fun is to have 2 listings of the same novel, one with this cover and one with a different cover, and see, kind of experiment and see which one gets more views or more attention or more sales. But that is far from now, nowhere near close. But I'm happy to have this visual representation of banished creatures of the arcana, something that makes me smile, makes me happy, makes me excited, and I learned a lot in the process. If you have anything to add, what are your favorite covers? What are you drawn to when you're looking at books, choosing which ones to read? I want to know how you're judging those books by their cover. If you're interested in following the journey of writing and self-publishing and more of my artwork, if you love fantasy, dark fantasy, if you love dragons, then please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.